Hello everyone and welcome back to the Small Scale Farm Models YouTube channel, and in today's video we're going to be trying to modify what's left of this Britain's hedge cutter into an old style flail head hedge cutter with the spinning blade on the end of it. So in order to do that we need to obviously build the blade to go onto the end of the headstock, and we also need to build the base that goes onto the back of the tractor. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to build the base out of plastic struct, and I'm going to try make the blade out of a small saw blade off a Dremel. So without further ado guys, let's get straight into it. Oh, sorry for the rain in the background, but we're at the next stage now. I've got a rough guide on what the hedge cutter is going to look like. I cut a bit out of plastic struct, and now I'm just going to file all my lines down to get the shape I want, and then I'll make one for the side and one for the other side, which will go to the back of the tractor, which is going to be a bit more challenging because I have to make a bracket to be able to put it onto the back of the tractor. And then what I want to do is then I want to put a bit of bar or something underneath it, so when I put it off, when it's not on a tractor, I can have it sitting on the ground properly. So that'll be interesting as well. So let's get filing this little bit here now. So we have one side of it done now anyway, so we just need to do the two side pieces, the back, and then that'll be a good chunk of it done anyway. So I think I might do it all yellow, I don't know, I think it just look better, it'll make it look like an older hedge cutter. So that's what I think will happen, and I think I might run a bit of bar across the back of it as well with a bit of mesh to make it look like the mirror, the light guards. So I think that's what we'll do as well. So probably the biggest jump, I'm after finishing the main part of the hedge cutter, as you can see. I did make it a bit of a tight fit down here at the bottom, but I suppose that should be alright. I just want to put a bit of detail onto the hedge cutter now. I want to do like a warning sign coming off, and I want to do backlights, and then once that's done we'll start working on the blade head. So we'll get into it now. So while we have this finishing, we're gonna move on to the saw part of the edge cutter. So all we have to do is we're just gonna cut this little bit off, and then we're gonna add on a small bit, and then we're gonna glue a little flail head, well it's gonna look like a flail head, onto the end of that then, and then we can get painting then. So while we have the base of the hedge cutter sitting in its first dark coat of primer, we've just got the hedge cutter saw blade put onto the hedge cutter. So what I did was I got a bit of bar and I glued it onto the back of the saw blade, and then when you cut off the bit of the hedge cutter, you just drill a hole then and you slide it up through where the hedge cutter was. So that's all that's involved in doing the saw blade into the hedge cutter. So we're gonna get this primered up as well, but that'll probably be tomorrow, and then we'll get it finished off in a coat, a nice yellow paint, and then we might sticker it up then. So it's just our paint now. The yellow probably could have done with another coat, but I think it looks alright. So next I'm gonna cover the lights with the bit of mesh, but first I'm gonna use this, they're like little gems, to make it look like there's lights in underneath the mesh. So we're gonna do that now. So we're at the next stage now. The hedge cutter is painted, and I have my three little lights in under my guard before the mesh goes onto it. So what I used for my lights was, they're like little gemstones, you get them in an arts and crafts shop. And now what I'm going to use this 3 or 4 mil metal mesh. You also get that in your local model shop or art shop. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to cut it out, then I'm going to glue it over the guard, and then after that I'm going to put on the pickle pitch onto the other side of the main part of the hedge cutter, or the hedge cutter housing, whatever you want to call it. And then after that we're going to put on some hydraulic hoses onto the hedge cutter, and then we'll get some nice photos, which is long overdue considering this hedge cutter has sat in a box for about the last 6 to 7 months. So the hedge cutter is pretty much done now, bar hydraulic hoses. As you can see, there's the mesh over the light, and then I've done this little warning light on the side as well. So I'm gonna put the hoses on, and then we'll get into making some scenes. So I decided not to put electrical and hydraulic hoses onto it because I didn't want to have to glue anything in place and then not have the functioning boom. So the first scene I set up was a young lad just coming back to the yard with the new hedge cutter, as you can see. So the next scene I set up was the young lad just dropping her off in the yard onto the pallet because there's no work for the hedge cutter at this time of the year. So the last scene I set up was the local farmer just talking to the other contractor about the work he's after doing and paying him up. So that's the last scene I've decided to set up, and this is coming to the end of the video. So guys, let us know what you think about the hedge cutter down in the comments. The only thing I would change about it is I would have made this part bigger and wider, because when I have it up again the tractor, it sits very in the middle of the tractor when it should sit over a small bit. But that's all I change, and I think I'll give this another go in the future. So let us know down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.